Hello and welcome to the How to Hobby podcast. I'm your host, John Power, and this is episode 59. I'm joined once again by my fearless co-host, Sean Bennett. Tonight, we are bringing you more building blocks as we dive into Q2 of this year. This is going to be all about how to build up your blocks for self-motivation. Self-motivation is so important, and it's just another thing that we really want to highlight here on the platform. And we just want to say thank you as well. We've seen some of the interest that's been peaking around the platform as a whole, and Sean and I definitely want to say thank you. And Sean, congratulations on a big day number 1 at the new company. Well done. How does it feel?
It feels so good. I was so nervous going into it, new job, new area, new role, new everything. I was so nervous. And then as soon as I got there and I met my manager and I met the team, all of that anxiety just left. And I was watching these guys, just have really cool conversations, even outside of work. I mean, it's been a while since you and I, worked together, really, that I've worked with a cohesive team where everybody, you weren't just talking about work, you were talking about life and interests and hobbies and passions. And, we were talking about some of the guys going off-roading. One of the guys just did a 4-day backpacking trip to Zion and Bryce Canyon. And we were just, I mean, it was so much fun just sit and talk to these guys. I actually took a break for lunch. What a concept. And actually sat in the cafeteria and ate lunch with my coworkers instead of just working through lunch like most engineers do. I mean, it was such a good first day, and I cannot wait to see where this role takes me. It's going to be wild where this goes.
Wow. Well, congratulations again. It's definitely a celebratory moment, and I'm happy you're back on the force. I mean, you spent enough time just talking to me and Kate. You got to get it back out there, and
I need to meet some people. I got to get some FaceTime.
got to get some FaceTime. But I'm glad it was so positive, and that's huge. I'm sure you're gonna be very motivated to get back into the work flow, and hopefully you keep up this high streak for as long as possible.
That's what I'm hoping. I'm hoping to keep, like we're going to talk about tonight. I'm implementing tasks we've already talked about, and we were prepping for this episode, of the things that I'm doing to keep my motivation at work more attainable, building better work-life balance, like we talked about a couple episodes ago. I'm just trying to do this stretch so much better than I have before, that I really feel like I have a chance to just kill it. I'm excited to kill it.
Oh, you always kill it, Sean. So there's no doubt about that. I'm going to be trying to just hang on for dear life. The chariot has left the station here. I mean, you are now headed straight to the sun. So great job. And yeah, I mean, I think it's just been kind of a fun time overall. I actually was in Reno for a carbon fiber composite training session last week.
It's so nuts you got to do that. I saw the pictures. I think it is like, what? That's so cool.
Yeah, and if you haven't seen, listeners, I did put some. I'm gonna probably put a little bit more on the our Instagram, how to hobby podcast. You can see kind of what I was doing. We laid up a few different fiber resin systems. So we did a standard fiberglass, and then we did a composite, carbon fiber composite. And that's the sexy kind, the one that everybody wants. My teacher kept saying, carbon fiber, it's sexy. So everybody loves it. And so, yeah, it was funny because he rated the class. You know how you go through 40% materials and processes, 40% hands-on, 25% workshop time. And he's like, yes, that adds up to 105%. So get ready. Like, this is no cakewalk. And literally we were in class every day it was 11-hour days minus, or sorry,
Good,
10-hour days
good Lord.
minus the hour for lunch you get. But even that sometimes, like he was like cutting into that. He's like, come back in 45 minutes, come back in 30 minutes. So it was funny. But this guy was an absolute machine. Shout out to Greg Kress at Aberist Training. And man, I can't say enough about the operation they got going there in Reno, which I wouldn't highly recommend Reno, listeners. I mean, it was okay. Definitely some beautiful mountains around, but walking around the downtown, Sean, it's a little questionable.
Not where you'd prefer to hang out.
Not exactly. I mean, it was all about the training, right? So
yeah.
I'll send some videos your way after this. We blew up some composites, which is, so if for all those engineering folk out there, composites are completely different than metallics, go figure. And the way that they fail is very dramatic, to say the least, because they have no plastic region. If you're familiar with stress strain curves, this is where a lot of the non-engineering folk go, what in the world is this guy talking about? But pretty much there's no room for it to deform. It's not a ductile material. So when it fails, it just blows up.
Fails spectacularly.
It just fails spectacular. So we were blowing these. I mean, we had a Instron pulling in tension, and we were just, some of them, it's amazing the capability, right? I mean, some of them were holding to 7,500 pounds. And then but then as soon as they popped, it was like if you're holding 7,500 pounds in a thin composite, the thing just blows up. I mean, it was like bang, and it was a pop too. So it was cool. So yeah, great times. And I highly recommend, if anybody is interested in composites and wants to take this course, it's called ES1. And no, I'm not affiliated. They are not sponsoring this podcast. If they were, that'd be awesome. But no, just fun. So yeah, great time, Sean. Highly recommend.
That sounds really, really cool. I've never worked with composite. The closest I've gotten to composites is just 3D printing, which it's a form of it, but it's not nearly what you were dealing with, the even fiberglass, but also the carbon fiber. That's on a whole other level, and really a direction that so many industries have been going in the last couple of years. Not even couple. What am I talking about? I remember when I was a kid watching How It's Made, and they were talking about carbon fiber. Within the last couple of decades, it has become a material that will be a material that goes into the future. I mean, there's no doubt about it.
Yeah, well, I mean, every plane now is made. That was the major takeaway for me. The industry standard for composites is pretty unbelievable when you talk about aerospace. They're on it, man. And you need to be when you're making an entire plane out of a carbon fiber and not a metallic. That's a different direction. But it was very cool to kind of see the background and the pedigree and the list of ASTM specs they have for testing these things. And my teacher was rattling off these spec numbers off the back of his hand. I mean, it was unbelievable. He just lived and breathed composite theory, advanced composite laminate theory. It was very cool. So brush off your matrices, listeners, and get out there to Aberist Training in Reno, and you will not be disappointed.
I'll have to try and make my way out there.
So yeah, I mean, I think overall great time. I think you wanted to share something as well here, Sean. So
yeah. So I wanted to give a shout out to a friend of mine. I know he's listening, so hi, Jordan. I want to talk about Jordan and his story because it has reminded me how amazing life can be if you just have the right mindset. Jordan I won't go too much in detail. I don't want to share too much of a story, but he's suffering from his second round of brain cancer, and he's confined to a wheelchair, and he is struggling to speak because he has half of his face is paralyzed from the tumor. And somebody who you would think, if I were in his shoes, I don't know what kind of mindset I would have, but I feel like it would be pretty dark. And after spending even 5 minutes with Jordan, the light that shines from him is unimaginable. I mean, even for somebody who is dealing with the craziest thing that I have, seen in person myself, and he's just rocking a heck of a good attitude of just enjoying life. Somebody who just all we did was go for a walk. Well, I just pushed him in his wheelchair and we went for a walk around the neighborhood, and he was so excited to get outside and get some sun. And
Mm,
it is inspiring to me, and reminds me how amazing life really can be if you just realize how amazing life is. I mean, just sitting and talking with him, playing chess and hanging out. He's so much fun. He's so funny, and he's just. I have to do a shout out because spending time with him is rewiring my brain of realizing how amazing life is and what it has to offer. So I
mm.
had to do a shout out.
No, that's amazing.
Yeah, it's crazy to me. So I know he's out there listening. So I hope you're having a good night, Jordan. I'll see you in a little bit to bring you some dinner. But yeah, I just shout out to him, and shout out to having one heck of a good outlook on life.
That's just amazing. Keep it up, Jordan. And I can't say enough. I mean, I can see the passion in Sean's eyes here. I mean, this is really an inspiring story and humbling for myself to hear. And so keep it up. And I think what a blessing that we all have to be alive and breathing. I mean, that's an important thing to remember and take stock in, listeners. So that's what we're all about here, is spreading some cheer and also not living in fear. I mean, some stuff happens and life can be rough. There's no guarantees that things are just going to go swimmingly throughout your entire life or career. Or so when hard times come, sometimes it's just about putting that smile on and taking some across the chin. So great job, Jordan, and thanks for sharing, Sean. I'm sure he values this, and I hope that the listeners also take stock of their own opportunities and their own abilities, and what a blessing it is for us to all be on this earth. So yeah, and I think this leads in perfectly to our motivational skills and building blocks for developing these, because again, a lot of setting up motivation is all about mindset. So we're going to dive into our key success, and then we'll kind of go through our normal rigmarole with the social media, and then kind of talk through our tools for building these blocks up. And again, the idea behind this segment, listeners, is that this is a building blocks related series. So no matter where you are in your journey, maybe you just feel like, oh, motivation, I'm not motivated at all. You're in the right spot, because we're talking about establishing good quality building blocks from the ground up. Now, maybe you don't feel like you can ever get to a point where, oh, I could be getting on and doing a podcast every week, or I could be, I don't know, excelling in a certain area of my life. I'll keep it very vague, but I think you can. I know you can. So that's what this episode's all about. And we hope we can enlighten and really encourage one another through this median. So yeah, let's start off with our keys to success. Sean, you can start us off here, and we're just going to get right into it.
We're just going to do it. Yeah. So motivation, specifically self-motivation, has been something we've touched on a good majority of the episodes that we've done, because it's such an important role in all of the things that John and I love, all of the hobbies that we've enjoyed, the experiences we had. Motivation is the underlying system that has allowed us to have these experiences. And so we wanted to set aside an episode specifically talking about this skill set because it will just domino effect into so many other aspects of your life. And the first thing you should do with self motivation is you have to be intentional. You have to be willing to say, I'm doing this, I'm going to do it, and I'm not going to stop doing it. It's you know, and I see John laughing,
Don't
but it's true because
don't
like you
stop. Won't
don't stop,
stop.
don't stop, can't stop, won't stop. Be intentional with your want for self motivation, be intentional with your drive to achieve self motivation, and be intentional with making sure that when you have the bad days, you stick to it. So, first
Mm,
one, be intentional. Second, most important thing with self motivation is, and I like the way that John worded this when we were talking, be willing to fall short. And this is something that we'll touch on in our current favorite tools, our motivation, our tool belt objectives we're working on, but be willing to fall short. I think I kind of want to let us talk a little bit more about that later. But yeah, just keep in your mind, be willing to fall short. Do you want to hit the other two that we got, John?
yeah, no problem. So we got another one here, which is dream big. And I think what this does is this unlocks your inner mind. We've talked a lot about in our Q1 soft skills and tools that you should go back and listen to if you haven't. We talk a lot about this, where really if you're not dreaming big, if you're not continuing to unleash your mind's eye and let it go places that you wouldn't normally go, then you're not going to understand how far your motivation can go, how willing you can be to take these steps that are just harder for other people to do, but for yourself, it's not as bad because you've been thinking about it, you're visualizing it, and you're continuing to dream big. So for myself, as an example, I love thinking of and sort of in the same vein that Sean opened the show with in the introduction about his buddy Jordan, but continuing to think, wow, what a blessing it is that I'm even able to travel,
Hmm.
or that I'm able to get in my car and drive somewhere, or that I'm able to even get to work. I have a standing desk at work, that I'm able to get to work and stand there and do some good work throughout the day. Those little continuous thoughts of just making it more of a dream and less like a chore is huge. And that's all motivational mindset tuning is what
Hmm.
I would call it. You're tuning your mind to think through some of the things that seem monotonous, and you turn them around. You say, no, this is beautiful. This is a dream. Wow, that was not the way I thought it was going to come out, but we're going to keep going, listeners.
That was deep. That was deep. I like that. No, we should do more of that.
So the second one is recognize you are going to be your own worst enemy. And when it comes to motivation, man, you're going to be making excuses left and right about how you can't do this, how you can't achieve this, how you're not going to reach this amount or gain this stature, whatever you could be thinking about. And we're keeping it very broad intentionally because this is just a building block. You could be anywhere on the spectrum. You could be at the beginning building blocks, or you could be at the very height of your stature as a human in this world. So no matter where you are, recognize that you are going to be your own worst enemy from time to time, and identify that and run with it, and run the other direction.
Run from yourself. It's true. It's true though. You gotta prepare your mind before you even start your journey that you are going to be the biggest enemy in this journey.
That's right. So those are our keys to success. We got 4 of them. We usually have 4, and tonight is no different. But we're going to dive into everybody's favorite subject, social media. We have a unbelievable opportunity for the listeners out there to get in touch with us through our Gmail. We have a Gmail account, howtohobbypodcast@gmail.com. Send us a line there. Sean is always willing to, Sean and myself, we want to hear your feedback, whether you think this show is awesome, whether you're just coming across us and you just want to say, hey, great job, or maybe this is the best. This is the best listener. If you have something you thought we missed and you wanted to start a discussion, man, that is when Sean and I get really excited. We are like kids in a candy store when we get discussions going. You should see us before and after the show. Like, we just nerd out for, I mean, we'd be here all night long. It would be nobody. An hour's not long enough, listeners. So, yeah, send us a line at our Gmail account. We have a Instagram, Twitter at How to Hobby Podcast. We've been doing a much better job at getting the Instagram going. The feed, Sean and I are putting stuff on there now, getting you guys engaged. So thanks for following us there. And the best place to kind of keep up with what's going on with the How to Hobby Podcast and our platform is our website, and that's howtohobbypodcast.com. We have some great stuff on there that we're really proud of. Sean has a couple a blog post. We have more content to come. So it's just great. We really enjoy this, and we want you to as well. So yeah, if you have any constructive criticism, feel free to drop it anywhere on our social media, and we'll be sure to potentially feature you. So thanks in advance. And without further ado, let's dive into our current favorite tools for self-motivation. Sean, take it off.
Yeah. So I'm going to hit it hard with when I said be willing to fall short, we're going to hit it hard. And I'm going to I hope this is quoted one day. I love this. So my current favorite tool when I'm talking about self-motivation and how to keep yourself motivated when things hit the fan and things go wrong is, in my opinion, understanding you're going to suck for a while, and then you're going to suck some more, and then you're going to get a little bit better, and then you're going to suck again, and then eventually you'll look back and realize you're light years beyond where you were when you first sucked a little bit. I think that this is a mindset that I use a lot when I am, especially when I'm picking up a new thing. But even when I'm trying to go back, say it was a passion I had, I lost the passion for it, and now I'm coming back to it, trying to understand that nobody that you see on Instagram, nobody that you see on YouTube, nobody that you read their blogs, nobody that you listen to their podcasts, in which they are experts in something, whether it's firearms or whether it's cooking or if it's cleaning or whatever it is, not a single soul started being as good as they are when you found them. It's just the reality of how life is. You are going to struggle and you are going to suck at it for a while, and that's totally fine. And in that, you can find the fun, because if you look at it right, it is kind of fun to look and realize how bad you're doing, which is hysterical sometimes, especially when picking up a new hobby and I'm realizing how horrifically I'm doing. And I look back and I just laugh because it's so funny. And I know that in a month, 6 months, 12 months, I'm going to look back and go, oh my God, I'm so much farther than I was back then. But I wouldn't get to that point if I hadn't said, oh, I suck, and that's okay. I think there's sometimes so much pressure on everything that we do in life, whether it's finding the perfect job, getting to your desired weight, getting into a skill, gaining a new skill that you want. But there's so much pressure involved that when we hit the stumbling block, like you said, John, you are your own worst enemy. And when you hit that block and you say, oh, I shouldn't even be trying to do this. I suck at this. I'm just going to quit. And it is what it is. I think that preparing yourself ahead of time for that moment is incredibly crucial to have the success later. And this can be something, even if you've been doing a hobby for 10 years. I guarantee there's something you suck at on that hobby, because again, nobody's perfect. And all of the guys you see, I'm a big firearm expert follower, right? That's a lot of the A lot of the content that I follow are people who are doing stuff that I'm like, oh my God, I could never pull that off. In reality, they've been doing it for 15 years, and I only see the last 6 weeks of the 15 years of work that they've put in to get to that point. I'm ignoring all of the failures, all of the times they tripped at the range, all of the times they dropped everything, all of the times that they missed the targets. I'm only seeing when they're these crazy tactical dudes, running through barricades and stuff. So,
Hurrah,
so for me,
hurrah.
the number one favorite tool that I have, and I will tell this to everybody forever, is it is absolutely okay to suck for a while. And I think this is where I really like the way that you put it, John, when you said be willing to fall short. And I think this is, you'll notice that we're being very careful with our terminology here. John and I say all the time, be willing to fail, right? It's true. You're going to fail, but it's how you look at the failure. Are you failing forward or are you failing backwards? And I feel like the way that we're saying this to be willing to fall short is not that you didn't succeed. You just didn't succeed as far as you thought you would, but you still went somewhere. You still got something out of it. And if you just look at it and realize, I didn't get from 0 to 100, so I'm a failure. No, you got from 0 to 75. That's still 75. That's still, it's not 100, but it's still way farther than you were at the beginning. I see. What do you got, John?
That's right. Oh no, I just want to second this. I think this is unbelievable. I mean, I liked what you said regarding it's going to be a process of, and what I like to call it, and I'm going to put this book in the show notes, listeners, because I've praised it and it just perfectly fits here for self-motivation, but it's called The Compound Effect. I highly recommend it, by Darren Hardy. And it's all about, I mean, you can apply this to literally every aspect of your life, but taking the little steps, whether it's once a week or once a day, you're always either going to be falling forward or falling back. And we don't obviously want to be falling back, because that means there's some type of negative effect associated with this. And this is going to be something that, as we continue to talk about building blocks, this will be something that we're going to continue to come back on. We always talk about our common threads. This compounding effect is one of our underlying threads within our podcast and our methodology for delivering good content. Because in almost every aspect of hobby that you could be getting into, there's always going to be a level in which you're starting somewhere and you can get to a new rung, no matter what. And I really like that you said that, Sean. I was thinking personally about my drumming career. I've been playing drums for, gosh, at this point, 20 years. And I don't even, I'm not even close to where I could be. I mean, I'm good. Don't get me wrong, but there's so many aspects rudimentary that you can just go back and really dive in and repolish. And applying that to anything is huge. And I love watching these videos online about some of the harder things in life. Like cycling is a huge one for me. Go figure, listeners. So I do watch. So I do watch a lot about cycling online, and I admire the people that are up the upper echelon. I mean, putting out, like, I would call myself an amateur cyclist. I can average on a ride, if I'm unladen, I don't have my work stuff on me, I can average on flat ground 20 mile per hour pace, with, putting down about an average of 135 to 150 watts. But you talk about some of these extreme athletes, the upper echelon, like the top of the field. These guys will average. I was just looking at some race results from Sea Otter Classic, which is a race that takes place in April, end of April. And the guy who won it was putting out an average of 350 watts.
Good
and
God.
That's mainly because it's a lot of uphill. And then his top speed, because there's some downhill, was 48 miles per hour on a bike. So, you're talking about that's hard to do. I mean, even with a downhill, you're cranking on your bike. So these are just some of the things that I like thinking about to establish, there's always another place to go. You may be great. I'm a pretty good cyclist. That's awesome. But then you watch some of these guys and you go, wow, now that I can always push a little harder. And I like to think about that when I'm on the bike or doing any activity or new hobby. I can always go a little farther. So great way of putting it, Sean. And this kind of leads well into my first favorite tool, which is I at this point, I don't want to make any excuses. I don't want to let myself become the enemy. And again, this is, after 20 years, no more. I mean, I would say almost my whole life, I've been sort of pre-programmed, and we've talked about this, Sean, the differences of like our upbringing, but I've sort of been pre-programmed based on parental guidance that you just have to go for it. You just have to continue to push, don't make excuses. Now, what happens more times than not is I want to make excuses. I just caught myself today thinking, like I was expressing to Sean, I didn't get everything I needed to get done within my last month, because where I'm at in my work, it's like month to month. And so I went to this training. And I lost a week out of my month, and that had a negative impact on my productivity, what I could do. And I was tempted to just say, oh, well, I had this training and I had this, and I was thinking that in my mind. And then today I just said, you know what? No, every day this week, you're going to make up that and more each time you go in and get back on track, get back on top of what because if I would have been in there, I would have gotten it done. There's no doubt about it. But I still, you got to pick it up and get back on the horse. And that's the thing that I want our listeners to think about is when you make excuses, you take time out of your day. You are sitting there feeling sorry for yourself and thinking, oh, well, I just won't even, it's okay. I'll catch up when I catch up.
Yep.
And I was so tempted, listeners. I'm not trying to say, I didn't have these feelings, but man, when you, by the end of my day today, I said, wow, I actually got way more done than I thought I did. And that was exciting. Even just that, even being able to say, wow, I actually was already taking a huge bite out of the pie that I needed to get done to catch back up. So, that's my top favorite tool right now.
I think that is a incredible, I don't know the right word to say, but it's an incredible life lesson that everybody should take away, is that it's so easy to make excuses, and the excuses are what leads you to becoming the enemy that we talked about, finding ways to say, oh, I'm just not going to go to the gym today. I had a rough day at work.
Yeah.
Or, I'm going to go ahead and eat breakfast today. I didn't want to, but I'm going to go ahead and do it because I'm feeling bad. You're like, ugh, you know what? I need to sit and watch TV. I need to relax. I need to sit and watch TV instead of going for a walk. There's so many easy ways to make excuses for yourself to not do the things that you should do. And then coming from someone who has learned this lesson the hard way too many times, once you make an excuse once, they will come so much easier the second and the third and the fourth and the fifth time. Once you skip the gym once, the likelihood of you going back, super small. Once you say, I'm going to eat breakfast today, all of a sudden it's tomorrow and you're eating breakfast. And then after that, you're eating breakfast. And you're just finding reasons to keep doing things you shouldn't be doing. And that is the toughest part, if you've been somebody who has been doing this for a while, is overcoming all of the negatives you've already set up for yourself. It's a lot easier if you were coming into this brand new, especially if it's a new hobby or a new time you're trying to work on your motivation. it's a little easier. So for those out there who are listening to this and going, oh my God, I do that all the time, it's going to be difficult, but it is 100% going to be worth it.
Yeah. And I do want to clarify, listeners, it is okay if you eat breakfast. Sean is
Oh, yeah.
doing intermittent fasting.
Yes, I
This is a
should.
big deal for him right now. I just want to clarify for
Yeah,
everybody. If
that's a
you
good
eat
point.
breakfast, you are not you're not making a mistake.
No,
But
this is
for
just
Sean,
for
this is
me.
personal motivation.
Yeah, me, my body, what I'm currently doing to get healthier right now.
Which,
You're right.
which
So,
is great. I just want to make sure that people
mhm.
we're always doing different things, listeners, and so we want to make sure that we're not being too hard on you.
Don't eat breakfast ever.
Do not eat breakfast ever, listeners, or you become the enemy. But yeah, no, Sean, you're doing a great job in all your specific like your personal journey. And I think a lot of the listeners you've been very open about the ways in which you are pursuing like a new mindset for yourself, whether, and motivating yourself to do things. So yeah, no, thank you for sharing that. And I think, I mean, it's just really important, listeners, to not, whatever your excuse is, because we all have different ones. I think that's the major key here.
Good
Is
point.
we're all going to have different excuses that are pulling us down. And so let's not settle for that type of mindset. So Sean, I'm curious about, I see your other tool here, and I'm really interested in what it is, and I'm sure the listeners will be as well. So if you want to dive into your second tool.
Yeah, so my second favorite tool, this is something that's relatively new to me. It's something I've always wanted to do, but never really held myself accountable to actually do it. So I was at a monthly meeting for the San Diego County gun owners, and one of the guys who was leading the class, his wife is really into arts and crafts. And he brought in this huge paper, like Trader Joe's bag, full of these handmade little notebooks. And they're not very big, but they're really, really well done. And it's something that I've been wanting to do. I see it a lot in people who are especially outdoorsy people, like a lot of the people I did the Mission Trails trail program with. They're very big on notebooks, taking notes of the plants and the animals and the things they see around them. So when they lead a hike, they can talk about it. And it's something I've wanted to do. And I said, you know what? I'm taking 2 notebooks. I'm going to see what it's like to actually have a notebook and be intentional about writing in this notebook. And it's been a trip, actually.
Wow.
Whenever I don't really have a point for this book yet. It's just my word vomit place. There's no set structure. There's no intention to it of like trying to make it something. It's just my way of getting thoughts out of my head and thinking about what I'm seeing. Like I was reading a book that the guy used a term that to me, I think fits me better than I've ever heard of anything in my life. And he called it a, oh God. Oh, now I'm blanking. Educational omnivore, which is something that to me, I feel like fits me so well because I'm so addicted to learning new things and a wide variety of things. So I'm not just I want to pick one thing and become an expert in that. I'm an educational omnivore. I want to learn everything all at the same time. It's just how I am. And I wrote it down. I got out of bed to grab this notebook and grab a pencil and write this down because to me that was such an insane thing I never heard of before. So this little notebook I'm finding is a semi motivational tool by just it existing because I am paying attention to things more. I'm being better at reading and paying attention to what I'm reading and seeing how it applies to me rather than just kind of this bypasser type thing of reading a story. But it's also holding myself accountable to actually use it because I have it and it's intentional and I want to do something with it. I keep it in my backpack at all times. I'm going to be keeping it on me when I do hikes and stuff. So yeah, just it's not saying that anyone has to go, you have to go get a notebook and you have to start writing stuff in it. But it's just that something so small as a notebook can be a motivator for me to do new things and kind of step us out of my comfort zone a little bit. So whether that's a notebook or a note on your phone or a video recording or whatever it is, it can be the tiniest thing and it can be wildly motivational to keep holding yourself accountable to stuff.
Wow. No, I love that. And I think there's something very exciting about taking a pen and putting ink to
Agreed.
paper. I mean, there's something there. And I've been doing a lot more note writing at work. I have a little note. I actually have 2 notebooks now at my desk at all times. And I've been huge over the last 2 years since I started this new job. Well, even since Agilis, but um filling out notebooks of tasking. And that's been one of my keys to success with taking, this will lead into my all-time favorite motivational tool later in the episode. No spoilers here. But yeah, using a list to get things done is just so huge for me. And I love the idea of just having notebooks everywhere. Like I kind of just want notebooks everywhere because it's just,
I agree. This makes me want to get a dream notebook now. Like I've heard of so many people having notebooks everywhere, and as soon as they have a thought, they dump it in the book. Or I've heard a lot of authors do this, where they're trying to be creative, and because creativity can come to you at a moment's notice in the most random places, whether you're in the shower, you're on a walk, you're sitting at work, you're, I don't know, drilling a hole. Like the littlest things can spark
drilling a hole.
Well, because it's a menial mind numbing task that allows your brain to float, and you can come up with crazy ideas. And so I've wanted to do this, have a notebook that I can write in, and I've actually decided to do it because I got one for free.
That's great.
And
what's the company? Can I get one? You said it's well done. Where is it? I want to see it after this.
So his wife makes them by hand. So I don't think she has a whole lot. It was just she makes them by hand and I think gives them away. So if I go to the meeting in May and they have more, I'll grab a couple for you and ship them out there.
Yes. I definitely, and now that we're going to be so close because you're working at a place that is close to where my parents live, we're gonna be able to touch base here more consistently when I come to the SD hood.
We are here. I just grabbed it. It was just this cute little,
that is so cute
notebook. I mean, it's
wow. That is the perfect size. That's like backpacking size. That's what I need.
Yeah, and it fits in because I tend to wear more of cargo style pants. It fits in the pockets really well. It fits my backpack really well. Like
does it come with the pen?
No, I had the pen. It has the little bungee thing to hold the pen.
Okay,
but I provided the pen.
Are you a pen guy?
Not usually, but I didn't have any pencils that fit the little elastic thingy.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, usually I'm a pencil because I like to erase and scratch stuff out, and pen sometimes feels too permanent, I guess.
Yeah. I don't know. I think it's funny when you talk about really funny things like buying a pen that's really expensive. I was just curious if maybe that was like one of your hobbies. So, okay, well, that's great, Sean. I think my second favorite tool, listeners, because we'll kind of speed up a little bit here and get through the rest of our content for the night. I think one of my big ones, Sean, always has been, and you know this about me, but the listeners, they don't know us as intimately, but valuing my mind and body has been a huge motivator for me. And I think it comes down to sort of like my Christian upbringing when, in the Bible, it talks a lot about treating your body like a temple because you're made in the image of God. And so, that's a core belief of mine that because we are, unique and put on this earth, that we need to value what we have. And the way to do that for myself has been motivating. Like, I choose to do certain things throughout the day for my routine and how I'm interacting with myself to motivate and keep myself healthy in both mind and body. And so, yeah, this is probably will always be on my current favorite tool list because it's always my number one reason for generating motivation, self-motivation. Do you really, asking yourself that question, do you really value where you are right now?
Mm-hmm.
Are you really happy with where you are right now? And if you're not, then maybe you need to take stock. I'm not going to tell you what to do. I'm not anybody's parent other than my 2 children. So they get to hear this from me. But you listeners just get to say, oh, this guy's really insightful or he's really crazy. And either one is probably okay. You can let us know at our Gmail account, though.
Please send us an email.
Please. And value your mind and body, because it is, I guarantee you, if you take little steps towards doing it, whether it's just as simple as, hey, I'm going to start making food. Like, this has been a huge thing for me, because not only does it save money, but I feel so much better going through my routine every single day when I keep my body fueled with the correct food source, the power source. It's not even a food source, it's a power source. And I love the way endurance athletes think of it, because they're literally just like, it's just sugar. It's just power. It's just going into the power plant.
Yep.
But in my mind, it's like, it's a little bit more, there's a little bit more finesse than that. You don't just want to be giving yourself crap. And that's the whole point here. You want to be optimally fueled so that you feel good throughout the day. Like, that's my goal. And Sean, we've talked about this, but how do I make myself feel good? And every little thing I'm choosing to interact with, physically, emotionally, mentally, man, that changes the game. So I'm telling you, think about this, listeners. And that's all I'm going to say. I would encourage you to think about this one area and try and figure out, take stock. What are the ways that I can improve in this area? I can improve in some. I can tell you that right now. And I'm always doing it. Sean, I'm sure you feel the same way.
Yep.
And if we do this, man, the motivation, we're going to have the most motivated audience in all of how-to hobby playlist kingdoms. I don't know how many how-to hobby podcasts there are out there, but
we're going to be at the top. I guarantee it.
We're going to have the motivated listeners. That's right.
Well, I agree. It is important. And this is something that I have struggled with for a long time. I feel like when it comes to the holy trinity of mind, body, and spirit, I think that I have been very, very good at keeping my mind and my spirit aligned with what I was doing and valuing my mind, valuing my spirit, my mental health, and everything. And I was really bad at valuing my physical body, my physical health. It was just, give me crap, give me food, give me anything that I need just because it fulfills a quick need. And then I focus on, how do I make myself mentally healthier? How do I focus on making my soul happy? Like those little things. I was skewed. So that's something that I'm really working on, is taking some of the energy and building more of a balance across everything, rather than neglecting one at the, glorifying two at the
expense of another.
Correct. Yeah. Thanks for that word. At the expense of another. So I'm trying to be better at that.
Well, look, I'm just going to encourage you right now, Sean. You're doing a great job. I mean, you got the new job. You've been doing some amazing. You're dropping the old LBs, and you're doing some great work. So keep it up, and I think you will continue to see outstanding success in your life. I feel like I like building up my friends. So that's how we do it here, listeners. We build each other up. We encourage one another. Go take it and encourage another one of your buddies. So let's dive into our tool belt objectives here. And so these are the things that we're working on. We realize that we're not perfect with yet, listeners. And that's the whole idea here, is how are we going to get better? How are we going to look at some of our building blocks to make us a better person? So Sean, if you can dive in first, and I'll follow.
So one thing that I'm really working on, and really want to get better at, and it plays in with what we've talked about a lot tonight when it comes to, falling short, you're going to suck for a while. I really want to work on getting better at managing my expectations of skill level. I think
Mm,
that I enjoy learning new things. I don't mind sucking for a while. I don't mind falling short. I think where I tend to struggle is I want to go up farther than my skill set currently allows me to go. So I don't mind trying something crazy and failing at it. But what I do is, and I do this a lot, it's really hit hard lately in my interest in trying to get into like computer coding. So I will start a course and I will spend, couple of weeks getting better slowly at this coding language. And then I just happen to see, like, on the offshoot of a forum, someone suggests this really cool thing that you could do with this software. And I go, oh, I want to jump to that. I don't want to wait. I want to go do this cool thing. And then I click and I go to the forum and I go, oh man, I could totally do this. And then I realize that I can't because this is like 2 years in kind of thing. This is using things I've never even heard of before, tools I've never even tried using. And what happens is I try and jump too far, too fast, and then I spend so long struggling because instead of building the foundation, I said I want to just tackle the mountain. That then I go, man, this sucks, and I suck, and I'm burning out on being sucky at this because you don't have any wins for a while, it's just always back to back to back. I'm so lost, so confused, so stuck that I start to lose the motivation, to keep pushing through and go back to the beginning and get the foundation. Like you even said with drums, there's always, if you've been playing drums for 2 decades, there's always something else you could practice, you could perfect on. And I think this is, I need to do better at managing my expectations throughout the process and see the things that look cool and like bookmark it in my Chrome tab and say, I'll come back to that in 6 months and see if I'm ready for it. And if I'm not, another 6 months and come back and see if I'm ready for it, rather than trying to just go too far too fast.
no, that's great, Sean. All I'm going to say to that, the curse of the engineer right there. I mean, we are the kings of diving in feet first. And actually, no, that would be the smart thing to do. Head
Yeah,
first
head first.
and just hitting the bottom. I mean, you got a smacking concussion
Hmm.
out of nowhere. And I think it's the way we always kind of do it. We always want to kind of hit ourselves right off the top with the baseball bat. But hey, I mean, I think this is great because, like you said, these are things we're trying to get better at, and
Hmm.
I can definitely say I struggle with that. And um, I shoot, I mean, this is good. So thanks for sharing that one. Mine is pretty simple. I just I'm continuing to try and tell myself to not settle for the excuses that come. This is kind of leading out of the last one where I'm not making excuses for myself, but in the same vein, I'm not settling to play second fiddle to something when
Hmm.
in terms of, well, I could have worked a little bit harder. Like if I'm having those thoughts, then that means I could definitely improve. And so in my world, and Sean, I'm sure you could probably, getting in your new job, I'm sure you'll probably feel similarly in a lot of ways. But when you're taking on a lot of these new skills, well, and yeah, managing the expectations is so huge, but also just trying to make up for a little bit of, instead of making the excuses, put in that little bit of extra effort, that 5 to 10% extra effort of intentionality. I mean, we said it at the very beginning, listeners. Be intentional is a key to self-motivation.
Hmm.
And that's where I'm going with this one is you have to continue to put the intention in place. Otherwise, you'll just fall to the wayside and you'll lose track of that last hour when you could have put in and really battened down the hatches and gotten that extra 10% done. So
Yep.
that's a huge 10% growth. It's I don't really care what it is, whether it's work, hobby related, something new skill you're trying to master, 10% more in the last ditch effort is always going to pay you dividends in once the compounding effect, you look back, like Sean highlighted earlier in the episode, once you look back, wow. I mean, it's like the growth is there. So
Yep. And that is exactly what I was going to say is my all-time favorite motivation tool is what I call reflection time. And it's taking the intentionality of like looking back and like gating yourself. Man, where was I 6 months ago? Where was I 12 months ago? Where was I 5 years ago? And how does that compare to where I am today? Because that is what builds your motivation to continue working. Because then you ask
yep.
yourself, man, if I made that much progress in a week, how much could I make in a month? How much could I make in a year? So I do this all the time with different aspects of my life, relationships, friendships, work, career, hobbies, everything is I take time to reflect on how much things have changed for the good or for the bad and what led to that and how much more I could have in another year. I mean, like simplest example, I've spent so much of my life wanting to lose weight and telling myself it wasn't possible, trying it for a week, not losing anything, losing motivation, yada, yada, yada. Here I am 3 months down and I'm 25 pounds down. Now, if you told me 3 months ago that I would be 25 pounds lighter than I was back then, I would have told you were crazy because I was like, there's no way I could possibly get that. Well, now I look back and I say, man, how crazy is it that I did something I didn't think was possible and it only took this amount of time? So take the time to reflect on the journey, good and bad, ups and downs, and just pay attention to how much you've actually grown in that time.
Oh, so good, Sean. I love that. I think, yeah, taking stock, write it down in your notebook. I mean, these are huge keys, and build up the building blocks for self-motivation, listeners. I'm going to end with my all-time favorite tool, which is take little bites out of the task. I think, again, and it all, mine have kind of built one on top of the other. But when you're talking about putting in that 10% extra effort, a lot of my keys for building motivational consistency, because again, it's not just about self-motivation. What is that? We're talking about establishing a line here of repeatable behaviors regarding motivation and
Yep.
self-motivation. So this is my number one key to doing that. I need to take, instead of looking at the whole issue in front of me, the whole massive problem, I need to look at the prioritize, delineate using your reflection methods, your notebook, say, okay, this is what I have to do. Boom, boom, boom. This is the roadmap, my battle plan. I mean, I call it a battle plan. I don't pull any punches.
I like that.
I'm straight up. I'm like, okay, I'm going in. And a lot of times this is work related stuff, listeners. But where do we need to be motivated the most? Work, because it's work and it's hard. Hobbies can be hard too, but a lot of times they're kind of fun, and we don't really have to think of it in this way. Man, when I'm going into work on Monday, battle plan, establish it right away, get it going, and take little bites out of the elephant. My mom taught me that as a little kid, and I love it. I love it. I don't really say the elephant. I think it, but for you guys, I'll say take little bites out of the task, and I don't think you'll look back. Again, this is a behavioral, motivational tool to establish consistent self-motivation. And that's where we want to leave you tonight. We want you to grow. We want you to really take time to do everything we said tonight. But, and we always say this at the end, listeners, if there was anything that you felt like we didn't cover and didn't cover well enough, which, you know what, Sean, I think there's probably something we didn't cover. I think out of this,
I'd say there's something.
this broad world and all these beautiful listeners out there across the world that are tuning in, one, we want to thank you. And if you are new to the podcast, please don't hesitate to leave us a like and or follow us wherever you're digesting this content. We want to thank you. And Sean and I are big on this. I mean, this is huge. We hope you sense the passion. We hope you've gained value. And we really hope that as we continue to push into Q2 and keep putting out content, that you feel encouraged and want to jump on board the platform here, standing alongside us, because we're all peers together. So again, feel free to use our Gmail account, and we put out new episodes every Friday morning, unless we have a training and we got to learn about composites. Then we don't. But this Friday, it will be up at 6 a.m. Sean, thanks for being here tonight. You are fabulous. This has been the How to Hobby Boys, and you know where and how to catch us at the How to Hobby podcast.